What's going on, y'all? This is Brody Khaan over here at the Television TV Network Bum Broadcasting Station. Yep, that's right. Just want to bring you some more information.
But as you can see the footage, these are so-called Negroes, right? And they can always tell us that these are Africans that mixed when they were escaped and maroons and stuff, but we've seen in video 1, video 2, we've seen the scientific anthropology to show that the oldest bones found here were of Negro descent. They had Negro features and resemble a lot of the Australian Aborigines and South Pacific Asians or Malays, right?
See, there have been a lot of doubters, a lot of disrespectful sheeple out there trying to rag on us for our impeccable and awesome delivery of truth to the people.
Tuscaloosa means black warrior. Why would a white or yellow Indian call themselves black warrior? Well, DeSoto described him as this huge, muscle-built, tall man, well-structured, and he was copper tone, dark, indigo, or another controversial title that'll get you stuck underneath the duck is they would say olive complected.
Here's to all y'all naysayers, if you please, to the left, and back the heck up, little creep. This movement ain't going to stop, and we ain't going to switch nor quit. You dig it?
And when I ask people, what is olive complected? They say, oh, the color of Italians and so on. That's not true. You buy pizza and eat it all the time. You don't see no yellow olive sitting on your pizza. You see a black olive. And you can do your own research out there. Olive complected. Start with that right now. You got to change what the teachers taught you. They taught us the wrong thing. The olive tree that was raised in southeast United States, if you look it up, was a tree that had a yellow, it was like you had a greenish yellow hue as it ripens, from green to a yellowish hue, and a ripe olive is black. Okay? And when you look at this olive, it has this brownish blackish color. It's not just a flat hue. Did you have a brownish blackish hue there? So that was the complexion of the people that they were coming in contact with.
Now let's get a little deeper into the presentation that we are presenting to you fellow truthers and none-losers.
And you can see them doing their dance here. They do the foot. Almost a lot of Native American tribes in the north, dance with their feet as well. They stomp their feet. And the guy, when he's explaining this part, he's saying that it sounds like merengue.
By now you should know that we are not the misnomer African Americans. We are the original people of the Americas, to be exact.
So, as you can see, copper-colored tribes in South America. We gotta dodge the hijacks. Aboriginals, the true Aboriginals were copper-colored in America. Alright?
You should also know that this is ancient Egypt, this is Atlantis, and that the capital of what once was known as Atlantis is in a town in Tampa, Florida right now. Yep.
America is mother of civilization. This is Atlantis.
Where was Atlantis? Atlantis is in the Americas. Egyptians came from Atlantis. Atlantis is in America, North America to be exact, right? Africa is not the mother of civilization. The Americas, Tamerica, Turtle Island is mother of all civilization. You don't believe me? Let me put you up on something right quick.
That the remnants of Atlantis are not submerged at all, but lie in plain sight on the American continent in what is now Florida. Let's take a closer look at Plato's description of the land to see why this piece of Florida real estate is worth exploring as the origin of Atlantis.
When you hear the word Atlantis, what does it mean to you? To some people, it's just a name. To others, it brings to mind Plato's story of a lost civilization. Looking toward the Gulf of Mexico, there was a plain which was said to be the fairest of all plains and very fertile. Near the center of the plain, at a distance of some 5.5 miles inland, there was a peninsula. Also, in the center of the peninsula, there was a hill. One of the primeval men of that country lived on this hill. His name was Evanor, and his wife was called Leucippe, and they had an only daughter who was called Cleito. The maiden had already reached womanhood by the time her mother and father died. Poseidon fell in love with her and enclosed the hill on which she lived. They made alternate zones of sea and land, larger and smaller, encircling their home. There were 2 zones of land and 3 zones of water placed evenly around the castle. Each zone was centered on the castle so that no outsider could get to the island home. He brought up 2 springs of water from beneath the earth, one of warm water and the other cold. Poseidon and his wife had 5 pairs of twin male children. Later, as the boys grew older, Poseidon divided the boundless continent into 10 portions. He gave the firstborn of the eldest twins the area of his mother's dwelling and the surrounding allotment. Then he made him king over the rest. The others he made princes and gave them rule over many men and a large territory. The eldest child, who was the first king, was named Atlas, and after him the kingdom was called Atlantis.
Yo, you should also know that the clue for you to know that this truly was Atlantis is that on the right side of the Florida coast the ocean is called what? What is the ocean called? That's right, the Atlantic Sea.
The eldest child, who was the first king, was named Atlas, and after him the kingdom was called Atlantis.
Thank you very much. Brah, here working with Kel, I've been brought to some real valuable information that is very illuminating and enlightening, and I want to share some of that information with you. So if you don't mind, without further ado, here is some more information that truly is eye-opening, to which I hope you enjoy.
Then you read on in history and you find where they say the people were indigo, the color indigo. Indigo is black. So today, when I look at Indians, which is highly controversial every time I said it, because the reason it's highly controversial, nobody don't want you to look. I want you to look. Why we cannot tell an Indian from a European white person? We need to ask questions. Then we got to just go back to the Europeans' own movie. Years ago when I was coming up, they were darkening the Indians and painting them up to make them look darker so they could fit in with what an Indian looked like then. Now, they don't have to use makeup to darken them. They can just take a white person and say this is an Indian. They have to do alteration because they have altered our views of what an Indian looked like. They have successfully, they feel, have done that. So they don't have to play with our mind with makeup. They can just give us that and we buy that. When I'm looking at how they have played with our minds of leaving from who we naturally were created to be, I start to see problems with my people. They don't have an identity, so they reach to far lands to find everybody trying to make it back to Africa. Everybody's trying to descend from slavery. What about the Indians that had no slavery ancestry? Back to the colors again. So let's go back to the colors. We talked about indigo, we talked about the olive complected, but let's do another thing. Why did the Indians in their movie of the Cowboy and Indians of the West, why did the Indians refer to the white man as paleface? Evidently, he had to look different from the Indian and he had to look pale, so that means it wasn't light. It had to been a dark person referring to a lighter complected person. Another thing to add to your notes. How did all the black Indians die? And all we see today is white Indians. When there are history documenting black complected Indians, even in your Smithsonian, even in your universities. We got to start. I'm gonna get a real controversy. We got to stop going to the ball games and the party and taking trips to see a rat in Florida distracting us. And we need to take a trip to some of our history so we can show our children who they are.
Once again, this is your brother Brody Khaan, out here.